Folks, welcome back. I don't think I've actually sat in front of this bookcase in like 3-4 years. I was going to do a bookcase video, then I was like, I'm lazy, I'm going to sit. I don't even know if you guys have seen half the stuff down here. So, Hero Quest, original and open, stickers, Lego developers. There's a giant stash of like 30 from the Vault relics. I think it's the one with Mox Diamond. Full Touch, original chalk. If you know about the chalk world, I'm a really big fan of the original Japanese chalk. I know they got bought out, but it's the same machines. What do we got back here? Rudy Fina, some old books, old Nintendo strategy guides, PlayStation Final Fantasy strategy guides, not even open. Anyways, moving forward. Today we have a throwback to the tales of Rudy's past. The internet's always filled with its own perspective of how they feel people come about in this world. And I always thought it was important to give some story times of Rudy's past, because otherwise the internet makes up their own opinions on everything. And I think it's important to kind of share some of the things that got me to where I am today. So today is the tales. We're going to go all the way back to when Rudy was a stockbroker for Merrill Lynch for 5 years back in the 2008. And I left that industry in 2012. Wanted to pursue the cardboard career life. I want to share an interesting component of this time frame. Yes, and by the way, I'm sharing where I did work and the name of the company and the financial firm, because number one, they were bought out by Bank of America, so the firm technically that I worked for doesn't really exist. It's under the umbrella of a bank now. Number two, it's been over 10 years. Enough time has gone by. Nobody really cares. Okay. So this is going to be very interesting for a lot of you all in the cardboard world, because you're going to see a lot of similarities and a lot of interesting components that's going to make you rethink things. So for my Magic and Pokemon people out there, and of course people who like the smaller, newer card games, the Sorceries, the Star Wars, the Lorcanas, the Flesh and Bloods, all these newer, been around that, well, I guess Flesh and Bloods was 5 years now. They're not even considered new anymore. Okay, anyway, so we're going to go back all the way to Rudy's life from 2010 to the time I left the firm in 2012. Well, let's start with this. Obviously, 2008, Q3 of 2007 was the beginning of the recession and the stock market crash. Nobody knew that in Q3 of 2007, but we started seeing some cracks and issues in the market with banks and Washington Mutual, Wachovia, and some of the mortgage underwriters and mortgage issuers, Countrywide Financial. That goofball CEO, I'll never forget that guy's name, Angelo Mazzillo. Oh, God, what a scumbag. Anyways, so my career, and this was the second financial firm I worked for. The first financial firm I worked for was a financial brokerage firm called Waddell & Reed, pre-2008. That was about I think a year and a half before that. But they were kind of smaller here in their campuses and some of their locations, and I wanted to go with a big boy firm. The reason I'm bringing all this up in this story time of 10, 15 years ago, now that Rudy's an old fart, is I look back and I spent most of my time at these companies doing speaking like I do with you all, which is probably why my public speaking to some of you all is, how does Rudy film a 30 or 40 minute video with no edits? It's a fucking cyborg? Alien? Reptilian, flat earth, hollow earth, purple earth. Yeah. So I spent most of my years trying to convince regular Americans to do something with their money. If you want me to sum up years of my life, from 2009 to 2012 when I left, that's 9, 10, 11, 12. Technically it's 4 years. I know it sounds like 3 when you say 9 to 12, but it's 4 actual years. I spent 4 years of my life talking to existing clients. We didn't really solicit. The position I had as a broker, advisor, blah, blah, blah. We didn't really do a lot of soliciting. I didn't engage in cold calling. It was, in other words, there'd be 10 of us. And I said, all right, well, we have these 5,000 accounts that we haven't spoken with. We've had all these existing clients. We're going to chop them up to the 10 of you. We need you to make contact with all these people because we haven't heard from these clients in over 5 years. And their accounts are sitting in cash, making 0%. Reach out to these people, find out if they're alive, find out if they forgot they even know they had the account, Find out if they want to actually put it in something. Hell, they can buy a CD or a stock or a bond or a mutual, anything. Just try to talk to find out what's going on with these idle accounts. That was kind of my thing that I did most of the time. It was a lot of fun. But what I learned was, well, because of what happened starting in Q3 of 07 and ended in March of 2009, we went through 17 months of a crash bear market negativity. Oh shit, that sounds familiar. 2022, 2023. Huh. I wonder if that's why Rudy understood what the fuck was going on. And I kept saying that the end of the bottom was coming at the end of 2023. Nah, I'm just making shit up. People aren't that astute to details in this world. The average American's just trying to find which way is up. Wait a minute, if the earth is spinning, which way is up? Oh god. Anyways, gotta have fun. This is a real channel. I'm in a basement. I'm sitting by a bookcase. Come on. I've got Beanie Babies behind me. So I spent all this time always discussing and making comment with these people who already had accounts with the firm, and it was almost a meme and everything, because the joke between us and our team and our brokers and all of us and all the advisors on this group that we work together was that it was so nobody wanted to do anything, because this was starting in 2010 and everybody kept saying, no, the market's going to keep crashing. I'm not buying. The economy, this is it. Everything is over. This is it. And the entire time of 2010 was met with daily, constant resistance of, Rudy, why should I put my life savings of $50,000 in my 401k, which is rolled over to my IRA or Roth IRA, whatever they had at the time? Rudy, why should I do that? Why should I do that? The market's been negative for 3 years in a row, or 2 years in a row, and the S&P is down 40% from the highs at the bottom of the market in March of 2009. Why should I do that? And there's never a good way. There's never a golden thing anybody can say to convince these individuals to make something that's going to change their life. And there's no way to use the G word, guarantee. That word was illegal for us to use in the regulated licensed industry. And I remember talking to enough people, and my go-to thing was, Timmy, you have $50,000 in your retirement account. You're 40 years old. You've got one of two choices. A, you're right. Leave it in cash, do nothing. You're scared of everything. The great crash, the great recession, the lost decade, everything is coming. The end is near. And A, this individual's right. From 2010 forward, the market will never do anything. The S&P will be flat till the end of days, when all of us humans are floating around like aliens. Right? Or option B, we just went through one of the greatest modern crashes, 2008, in modern history in the United States, on an economic crash caused by mortgage-backed securities, banks, leverage, and I'm not getting into all that stuff, but it's very complicated, and I don't think it's a good place for me to discuss on the internet, because the average person won't understand the details and mechanics behind the scenes, and the average person is not going to want to hear why things led the way they are, because it's very controversial, some of the more detailed things behind the scenes, and I will never discuss that publicly on YouTube, because simply put, the public is just not mentally wanting to hear certain things and would accept whether those things are real or not. So it's a lose-lose for anybody who wants to go into some of that. So it's never going to happen. So these individuals, option two, the market's crashed for years. You're 40 years old. If we're down 40%, you got 50 grand in your life savings. Put it into the S&P. Put it in any balanced, whatever mutual fund. I don't even care what it is. It could be a no load, no fee. It could be a super mega fee. Just put it in something. Because it's about probabilities. Just like Magic and Pokemon, it's about probabilities, ladies and gentlemen. And when I say Magic and Pokemon, I'm referring to new products in sealed booster boxes, not specking on single cards. That's what I refer to, by the way. I just want to get that in the oven. And everything we do on this channel and all decisions that I make are based on probability. That's all it is. One of the reasons a lot of people in the Pokemon world have an obsession, and my name gets brought up a lot in all kinds of forums and, Ashley Madison's and Grinders and Tinders and everything, is that people know I don't have any passion for Pokemon. And that's one of the things, actually, the Pokemon community, the investing, collecting side, really likes about me. I have zero emotional connection and passion to Pokemon. Just nothing. I played as a kid. I still got my Pokemon Red and Blue, my Game Boys, Game Boy Colors. I even have Pokemon Pinball and all kinds of games from when I was a kid. Yes, I will show you guys the game room of Rudy's Pokemon, not Pokemon, pinball stuff soon. I know you guys keep asking me. Rudy mentioned pinball, but he's never showed anything. I'll get to it. So one of the reasons a lot of people like that about me in the Pokemon world, they come to this channel is because you're going to get the most unbiased, unfiltered Pokemon information out of any YouTube channel out there. There is no one out there running a larger Pokemon collecting, investing business and hoarding on sealed modern Pokemon than me. I don't believe it. I don't care what anyone says. I believe I am probably the largest, and it will probably remain that way for a very long time. Now, with that being said, a lot of people don't like me because I have no passion for it in the Pokemon world, and all I do is use it as a utility. That makes some people who are Timmies and emotional and they dress up as Pikachu and they pick up ladies of the night and they only engage in inappropriate activities wearing their uniforms, and you can be whatever side of the coin. The point of this channel is to share this information with you all, and the only way to show some of you out there that I have credibility is to show you the crazy positions I have. Original design of this YouTube channel, I never really wanted to share and show anything in pallets and boxes and cases. The original design, if you look at the beginning of this YouTube channel, it was a very long time before I showed any major sealed product positions. I never really wanted to do that in the first year or two. But then I learned very quickly, the internet won't believe you unless you show the receipts, because everybody's full of shit online. So I had to do that to increase the credibility and leverage, to really kind of shove it in people's face, to be like, hey, this is what's going on. And it kind of works. So back to young Rudy. I'm at this brokerage firm. And I look back at this, and I essentially spent 2010, 2011, and 2012 of my life working with existing clients at brokerage firms at Merrill. And it was just so difficult because everybody in America lives with this analysis paralysis, fear of the next crash. It was something I was met with constantly, which was fear of loss and fear of failure, all of these different fears. And little did I know that this part of my life, 15 years ago, was laying the groundwork in the framework for my future to talk to you all and make me a very good public speaker, make me good at YouTube because I don't have time to edit videos to be able to actually talk about this stuff. I had no idea this was in my destiny, in my future. Ooh. Remember, you know it's serious. You know why? I'm looking at the camera. I'm going to look up and to the left. So, all of this stuff, as I've gotten older, I've realized is literally laid the groundwork and framework for me to kind of be one of the better, I'm not going to say the best, but one of the better sealed product collectors and investors, in my opinion, in modern history. That's just how I feel about my personal position and where I've made it, and based on the numbers and everything I'm seeing. 2024 has really been a very humbling wow on financial increase on paper of the inventory. Things have gone up far greater than I had ever would have imagined looking back from 2023. I expected this year to do better and be an increase back to a bull market, but I didn't think it was going to be this nasty and aggressive. It's just fucking aggressive right now. You know, I mean, all these sealed products of Magic and collector boxes, the draft boxes are disappearing. And, you know, I did not expect this in the degree of intensity of the turnaround was something I did not calculate for. So I look back in this time and being met daily with constant people not wanting to do anything with their money, because the meme and the attitude was no matter what you would buy, it just went down in price. And eventually, again, pre-internet era pretty much, or pre-internet YouTube social media, you know, 2008, 9, 10, 11, you know, Facebook was a thing, YouTube was a thing, but YouTube in 2010 was not really that much of a thing. Let's be honest, okay? It existed, but there was no monetization. There was no craziness. It was not what it is today, okay? Patreon didn't even exist, which, friendly reminder, this channel is supported by you all, the viewers and the patrons, the thousands of you guys. We don't do outside sponsorships. It's just me and you guys. So it's funny because let's go into the rebuttals. From 2010, 11, and 12, these 3-4 year block, the reason that people told me hundreds and thousands of times over many days, weeks, months, and years of working was simply put, they didn't believe in it. Why would I buy a mutual fund of the S&P 500 when the market's had a lost decade, a lost year, a lost 3 years? The market's as cheap as it was now as it was 8 years ago. Everybody's wiring was just, there was no bright light in the future. That was the overall consensus of everyone I talked to. And I talked to thousands of people over years doing this as a career. Okay? And just pause that moment right there. Now go today to new Magic and new Pokemon. Okay? The reason we are seeing accelerated price swings being led by Lord of the Rings Holiday Special, being led by the most rejected, most negative product of 2023, Lord of the Rings Holiday Special. Oh, Wizards is milking us. Oh, they're re-releasing the same thing twice. I can't believe they're charging this. Again, you can type in any of my box openings on this channel or any Lord of the Rings Holiday Special stuff and go back. And it's just a bloodbath in the comment section. And you look at all this stuff. And the people who made out like bandits, the Rudys and other people out there who, some of the patrons who, you know who you are out there, they bought these Lost Caverns of Ixalan collectors when nobody was. They bought Paldea Evolved Pokemon when nobody was, because Scarlet Violet's dead! And they bought, new Temporal, Twilight Masquerade Eyes Wide Shut Pokemon. All these sets, because Scarlet Violet's dead. All these people who were just negative and refused to do it, while there was a very small handful that did stay the course, and now, as just similar to the last decade, are reaping fucking substantial financial rewards from this stuff. Now, it is my place, in my opinion, that the bull market news cycle that started in 2024 is going to run for a couple years. I just want to be very clear with you all. There'll be blips. We'll have sets that fail, just like we do in every other era and market cycle. But it is in my attitude right now that we are nowhere near halfway through this bull run for new card games. So pause that right there. Back to 2010. So it was so crazy to me because at the time in 2010 and 2011, when every client in person, they'd hang up on me and say, "No way in hell, you Wall Street scum, close my account, send me a check." And we did that all the time. They had their account doing nothing. They sold in the market crash of 08, 09. And I always wonder what happened to those thousands upon thousands of people, What happened to those people? Did they ever get back in? Did they wait for it to skyrocket? And see, when you look at the chart of the S&P in the history here, with even the NASDAQ or whatever, I know we've had the big tech AI boom and Google, Amazon, all these crazy stuff, but when you look at what was going on, I remember when Facebook went public and they were like $30 a share. And I remember when Tesla went public and all these things. And I remember all these things that happened. And they have a lot of common denominators and a lot of common attitudes. And that is, the general public is usually wrong. The internet is most likely the largest hive mind of incorrect information in the world, depending on what you're looking for. But we're talking about in the card world. And the internet, as when it comes to sealed product and different things, is incredibly inaccurate. My track record is, I think I've been pretty good on the track record. I would say, out of everything in the last 10 years I've discussed on this channel, I would say overall, I think I've been between 60 and 80% accurate. So on the low side, for the people who hate me, I would say 60% accuracy. And on the high side, I think I've been 75 to 80% accurate. Now, to some of you all, that may not mean anything, but to me, I'm very proud of that. That's incredibly good. Overall, that is an incredible statistic to use when you talk about this type of industry. And the funny thing, the bittersweet humility and humbling and the way time really proves its nastiness to all of us is, I look back at those Merrill days and even I didn't know. And I look back and little did I had no idea, because again, nobody knew in 2010, 2011, 2012. And I look back at 2011 and every single person who bought any mutual fund, not even the S&P 500, it could have been any mutual fund in the stock market with growth or small, mid, large cap, tech, anything you want. All of these U.S. mutual funds, let's just pick on the S&P 500. Nobody knew at the time, but it was one of the greatest buying opportunities in modern history for the stock market. Period. Anyone who bought at 2009's bottom all the way through 2010, 11, 12, and as long as they just did absolutely nothing at all, it was one of the greatest moments of buying the S&P 500 hit a low of 666 and averaged around 800 to 1,000 on the S&P for a while. I remember those days. And now the S&P 500 is what? Pushing towards 6,000? What, in the 5 to 6,000 range? And it's absolutely crazy because in that moment, nobody knew. Everybody was like, well, I'm running my lines and charts, and it looks like the S&P's at this new resistance and the moving day average of 69 moving days. And, oh, wait, how many Bollinger Bands? Wait, how many standard deviations? Oh, we're getting below. This chart here shows every time we've hit this metric, we've gone into major crashes. Inverted yield curve! I can go into all this stupid shenanigans that people would always throw by me. Elevator pitch me and discuss. And I look back, and the funniest part of all this stuff was the little Timmy who just said, you know what, I'm 40, taking my X amount of money, put in the S&P 500, whatever happens, happens. The people who just did the most basic of investing, made a killing. And then for those of you out there saying, well, Rudy, yeah, then those people time the market. No, little Timmy. So for the people who just want to be all fucking negative Nancy, Debbie Downer, the world's going to end every single day when the sun comes up. Oh, there's the sun! That's it. We're done. Oh, the sun went down. We're back. Oh, fuck, it came back up. For those of you out there who feel that way, just remember, even if you had bought at the tippy top in Q3 of 2007, when the Dow was 14,000, you still would have made multiple X's return just buying and leaving the S&P 500. Okay, just remember that you instead of 400%, maybe you only made 300%. I just nobody knew, and yet everybody I talked to for years was constantly just negative. Fuck off. This is shit. Wall Street's a scam. Mutual funds are scam. BlackRock owns your left nut, Rudy. This and that. Everything. It's so crazy how the more things change, everything stays the same. Okay? And I want to comment on this next part because I remember my last year in 2012. And I remember by 2012, at the very end there, it was the first time I noticed in the entire 5 years I was there, was the first time, the last 6 months I was there, was the first time the constant negative started to subside. I started to notice in 2012, which was 3 to 4 years from the market bottom, the average American and the average consumer started to believe that things were okay. Maybe 2008 maybe we did bottom, and maybe it is time to move back in. Ladies and gentlemen, based on that, that's my experience. And remember, on a normal day, you're talking on a normal week, day, month, year. We're talking to thousands of people all over the United States. Only U.S. Client base, not international. And just like the card world, there was a substantial delay from the time that the market data actually did bottom, and by the time little Timmy and little Princess Penelope and Debbie Downer actually got together and said, you know what, maybe we should actually, instead of leaving our money getting 0%, let's buy the S&P 500. Let's put it in a mutual fund for retirement. It took people years to come to terms and acceptance that the wheel in the sky is going to keep going. Things are going to move forward. The world's not going to end. And all this stupid bullshit social media, news cycle, mainstream, internet, everything that's just trying to get you to live a life of negative, fearful bullshit is just that. It is, you can call it the powers that be, you can call it anything you want. But at the end of the day, all of this stuff doesn't help you. All of these things make you question everything, and for many people, give you analysis paralysis of, Is Hasbro bankrupt? Wait, election year. They're going to pump the market then dump it? Or they're going to dump the market before the election? Wait, but then next year, right? Next year, guaranteed. Inverted yield curve, right? It's back to normal? So we're guaranteed recession now within 4 quarters, right? And that's 3 quarters after the election. So that's coming, right? Wait, Michael Burry, the big short, right? I mean, he says he's in cash. Warren Buffett sold Apple. He's going to cash. You know it's true. Okay, well, again, okay, what do you want me to say? Michael Burry, his best thing in his life, the big short. He shorted credit default swaps on mortgage-backed securities, and he hit it big, made billions. Great, awesome, fucking legend. I get it. Everything else, he's fucked up pretty bad. Warren Buffett, yeah, ask him how he's doing on his Kraft Foods. One of the worst fucking things he's ever done. Okay, but he's got a lot of things right. He's an Oracle of Omaha. He's a legend. I'm not going to discount it. Legend. Just because these people make these decisions and these data points, and some of these people have hit home runs, just like Rudy, have hit home runs, doesn't mean we know everything. Doesn't mean those people know everything. It means they're human. It means you take that piece of information and go, huh, well, he's pretty smart, and he did make that choice. That's an interesting direction. I wonder if there's other variables that are making him do that, or if that truly is how he feels. We don't have the answer to a question like that. Therefore, you cannot deduct decisions of your life and how you're going to make them based on something that you don't know why that person did that. You know, it's kind of funny. We're going to jump back here now. In 2023, when I lost a lot of patrons during the crash, many patrons would screenshot my sales and do different things, and which is why, you know, everything I type, everything I do is based on the assumption that it'll be screenshotted and shared. And it was funny because if I would run a sale, no matter what it would be, or if I ran an extra sale, or if I changed a sale, no matter what I would do, you would have people screenshot and say, oh man, Rudy's in trouble. He's dumping everything now. You would have people do the same thing. And again, all of these things is what's been placed into my brain to allow me to navigate all these markets through goods and bad times, with Pokemon and Magic specifically, the 2 big boys. And it was funny because even I remember the Sword and Shield era of Pokemon, I increased my sales to Friday and Sunday to help because there's so many releases and things. And now I have Weiss Wednesdays and then Friday, Sunday, so that I can actually keep a smooth schedule without jumping around. And you know, some people, oh God, Rudy's got to, oh, you know, he's Weiss. Now that's the people are going to create and fabricate their own things, and they're going to share it online, which will lead to other people making poor choices. I remember the patrons that would get angry. Oh man, he's dumping. I remember people would share it on Discords, Facebooks, MySpace, Reddit. Oh, Rudy, oh man, definitely he's in trouble. This bear market in 2023, he's running 2 extra sale this month on Magic. Oof, you know that things are bad. He's got to get out. Those heavy bags are just pushing down on his ball sack. And you know, I look back on some of this stuff, and it was interesting how in those times how people would behave. You know, I have draft boxes of Magic for 91 shipped across the board, and I'd get a patron that'd be, Rudy, why on earth do you fuck your patrons over? You have 8 draft boxes for $91 a box. That one draft box right now is $85 a box. Like, that one's moved in price. This is unbelievable. And I'll reply and I'll say, you know, you're right, Captain Timmy. You got me. And you're also right. I don't adjust the prices every week. I don't change it every month. I didn't drop it $5. And if that box was $150, I didn't jump it to $150. It's just the price is the price. If you don't like it, then fucking just don't buy it. But thanks for letting me know. It's fascinating how a lot of individuals will zoom in and they'll chase these pennies and they'll do this stuff. But they're missing out on the whole thing of what's going on here. And all this stuff, like right now, it's like deja vu for me from back to this story time era of 2010, 11, and 12. Because I lived through this era where everybody felt investing in the S&P was over. It was garbage because of the crash in 08 and that price memory and that feeling of loss. In the last year, like I said, when I was in Maryland in 2012, the very last year is when people finally started to soften their stance of maybe this isn't a scam. Maybe, you know, and keep in mind, look at the difference from the low on the S&P at 666 in March of 09 compared to where it was going into 2013 after 2012. The amount of repricing that took place was absolutely astonishing. But it took that much time for people to mentally heal and accept that the world wasn't ending. And it was one of the greatest learning experiences, one of the greatest moments of learning how average people and normal Timmies think. And the problem is it's not really anyone's fault. We are human beings. We are naturally wired to be terrible investors. When things drop, we feel pain. When we feel pain, the human brain, as a defense mechanism, wants us to end the pain. How do you end the pain? You get out. You sell. You make an aggressive, you got to get out. Because after you do, you're like this. Hurry, sell, get off! Oh, I did it. I sold everything. Oh, I feel so much better. You have that sigh of relief, like that big, heavy load of ball sack is lifted off of you. Okay? And then, of course, when the hottest stock in the market goes straight to the moon and keeps going to the moon, everybody's got to hop on. Not now, not later, but when it's already at an all-time high and it's all over the news, and I don't know what it is now. It's not Facebook or Netflix. Was it now? I guess Nvidia's the one now. And maybe it keeps going. Who the fuck knows? I don't chase things. I know many Americans do. But it's fascinating how when it feels good and you see that green or that uptick, how people just chase it. That brings me to the next part of this video. And that is an interesting discussion that I've had from people with Magic and Pokemon. And that is the price movements of a $91 Magic draft box to go from $90 to $150, or a $100 Pokemon box to go to $200. Okay? There's this whole concept in the card world that missing out, the easy money's been made, in that whole principle and that whole aspect of looking at your life. And the funny thing is, once again, most people are wrong. They're all full of shit. They don't know what the fuck they're talking about. And I assure you all, let me give you my opinion. Okay? The Rudy opinion is no. If a Magic box is currently $91 from Rudy, or $100 on TCG Player plus tax, $110, whatever, fucking $110. For that $110 Magic box to go to $200 is very difficult. Okay? Seriously. For that collector box of Magic to go from $200 a box to $400 is really difficult to do. But here's the funny thing. When it hits $400, Lord of the Rings Holiday Special, Lost Caverns of Ixalan, Wilds of Eldraine, which I think that's in the 300s. What people don't realize is when it hits those all-time highs, it's easier for them to double a second time than it is the first time in the collectible world. It doesn't behave the same way as an equity does on Wall Street. Please do not confuse those two things. Chasing Facebook, Nvidia, whatever it is, an all-time high, in order for that to double again, is not the same mechanics required that a box of cards requires to double. If a stock, like Nvidia, I hate picking on it because they are a good company, but for a stock to double, they need to back that up with growth, earnings, sales, bottom line. Everything needs to grow at an aggressive growth rate and maintain that. Okay? When Lord of the Rings Holiday Special goes from $400 to $800 and people go crazy, they're like, how did this happen? Lord of the Rings was $300 a collector box. Then it jumped to $600. Then it jumped to $1,000. Because that original move from like $250 at the bottom to $500 is really difficult to do. But in the collector world, once that happens, it's fucking, everything changes because it's a supply issue. Okay? It's not the stock market. The stock market, the stock to double again, is not a lack of shares. No. In the collectible world, when Lord of the Rings Holiday Special hit $400 or $500, I told you all, said, this shit's going to $1,000. It's still underpriced. And of course, the typical dumbass Timmies on the internet. Oh, look at Rudy trying to move his heavy bags, blah, blah. And that mindset never gets those people anywhere. They're probably on their lunch break, working at Taco Bell, just bashing a bunch of people in stores online, because that's just what they do. And that subset of society will always exist of people who are just angry. And there's probably good reason for them to be angry, because they probably have other things going on in their life that fucking suck. And when things suck, it puts them in a bad mindset. Maybe bills, lack of, financial, they don't have enough cash and money and capital. Maybe they came home and their girlfriend was banging 5 chicks, guys. Chicks would be bad? No, that would be good. I don't know. Something bad was going on, okay? And it put them in a bad mindset. But in the card world, okay, Pokemon time, Pokemon. When a Pokemon booster box, right now, okay, hold on. So let's pick on a Sword and Shield. What's a bad one? Sword and Shield, we can't pick on Chilling Reign anymore because now it's like fucking to the moon. Okay, let's do it anyways. Let's go back to Evolving Skies or Chilling Reign. When Chilling Reign sat at $80, $90, $100 a box forever, it had a hard time moving up. Now, right when Chilling Reign broke through resistance or the glass ceiling, when it broke through, once Chilling went from that 80 to 90 and it popped to 150, I was like, this shit's going 2, 3, 4, 500. Once it can get out of that slump, the momentum kicks in. The lack of supply kicks in. Market awareness kicks in. Positivity takes over. The Debbie Downers disappear. You have a full market repricing reset. Now, that kind of thing is not as common on Wall Street as it with collectibles, because when that happens, remember, most of you, if something goes up 50% or 100%, you're going to sell. You're going to be gone. That's what happened with Evolving Skies. Evolving Skies at 110, 120, or whatever it was that Rudy sold his fucking original couple pallets for to you guys. Congratulations, even though most of you all probably didn't keep it. When it hit 200, I remember the patron message saying, dude, Rudy, I just sold my cases of Evolving Skies from you. Dude, I doubled my money. After shipping and fees, I made like 80% instead of 100% net in like 6 months, dude. Thanks, bro. Home fries, waffle fries, tater tots. Now I'm hungry. Fuck. It's Sunday. Chick-fil-A's not open. Jesus. Oh my God. End of the world. Oh, sun gonna come up? Oh shit, it will tomorrow. Most people sell out of that. But what they don't understand is if you don't need the capital and you have a disciplined, non-emotional mindset and you can see past Rudy's left nut, you can understand that Evolving Skies, when it hit 200, that should have been the naked Florida man running down the street with the flag saying, we're in, baby. Okay? Because once that broke 200 and I saw the market thinning out, I saw everybody, oh God, cash it in, hurry before the crash. You saw all these Timmies. Oh, I made 80%, I did. And they jumped in, they got out, and they locked in their gains before the crash came, right? Little did they understand, all of those individuals contributed to the acceleration of Evolving Skies pushing to 1,000. Same thing with Lord of the Rings. Because the people who had it, and the people who were waiting, and the stores who kept the case, they were waiting for an opportunity to get out and raise capital and take some profit. Because stores hate taking losses. It's like, fine, do it. Same thing with collectors and investors and you guys out there. You don't like that feeling. Oh, wait, I've been waiting 2 years. It's finally come back. Little do you know. Little do you realize. You're selling too early. You're taking an emotional, slanted, tilted mindset that's broken. And you're saying, oh, I waited 2 years. Shit hasn't done anything. I'm taking my 50% gain and I'm out. And in collectibles, that thins the market because as people sell into the strength, the pricing on Evolving Skies from 300 to 500 got tiny. And then you look on the open market, an eBay, TCG player, you start going, wait a minute. There's like barely any boxes of Evolving Skies left now if this thing goes to 500 or 600 or 700. Now we're talking, is there even 40 boxes left in the market? Right now, you go on TCG player, look at Paradox Rift. Well, there are hundreds of boxes available. Ooh, it's $100 a box plus tax. Okay? You go online, and you go back to Sword and Shield. Look at some of this stuff. Go back to XY. Look at Evolutions that was printed to the ground. Okay? Look at Ancient Origins. Look at Primal Clash. Look at any of these things. There's literally like 2 boxes of Ancient Origins. Maybe 8 boxes of Primal Clash from XY era. Look at Sun and Moon, some of this shit. It's like fucking, where'd it go? Because so many people are not able to see the long, big game and the big picture of life. Humans are wired to be zoomed in and be focused on your little life. And you don't see the greater good. You don't see the long game. You don't plan for the long game. You can get rich flipping in the short term. You can make money. You can enjoy your life, but you won't build wealth. You won't build tremendous long-term wealth. Someone like me, who's held Evolving Skies since it came out, and I paid, I don't even remember what they were back then, $80 a box before the price increase, maybe. So what? 1,000 $1,500, I don't know, let's say 1,000 boxes of Evolving Skies at 80, and now they're almost 1,000. That's insane. Okay, what, 2,000 boxes of Chilling Reign at 80? And everybody just ridiculed it, and now it's what, 220, 230? Chilling Reign, just like the rest of Sword and Shield, will be repriced to 300 to 500 range. All Sword and Shield era boxes will be 300, 500, up to 1,000 a box. Okay? They are still cheap. No, I am not running any major sales on it. Yes, if patrons probably message me asking for a case or something, I'll give them a quote for a case on, market price minus a couple bucks or something, but no discounts. And I'll sell a private case here and there. But overall, this stuff, it still has tremendous opportunity. I could actually argue that buying Fallout collectors at 500, or Assassin's Creed collectors at, 230, 40, whatever it is with tax, or buying Sword and Shield, Lost Origin, Silver Tempest, any of these things today at 200 a box is a lower risk tolerance than buying when they came out at the lower price. Because the market has already given you the stamp of approval in the green light that it can go up in price. You've removed the risk of rejection. I hope somebody fucking listens to this shit. I feel like there's times I swear I just listen. Comment below of how many views are on this video if you're not watching when it just got uploaded. I'm really curious. I don't even know this is a long ass video. Sorry. So to wrap this video up, which means we're halfway through. No, let's wrap this up. I just want to tell you all, it's incredibly intriguing that my brain sees these similarities between these markets. And it's so fascinating to know and understand that most people will not have a positive attitude towards a market until it performs well for a longer period of time. Like right now, the stock market's the same way. The Dow at 41,000. I remember when people said the Dow at 8,000 was, oh God, is it going to crash back to 1,000? Oh, the S&P 500 is 700. The S&P 500 is going to go back to 100. It's so wild to see how the future unfolds and to see how many people are always wrong. And I guess the most depressing part about all this stuff is all these people who bash the stock market stuff, the Pokemon, the Magic, the sealed product, the collectors, the investors, all these people who bash, and they just live a life of drama, clickbait, and negative stuff. And I'll put some stupid ass title in this video because otherwise nobody will watch it. I'll put some stupid title of negative. I'll put some negative title. And it's so crazy because you never see any of these people make follow-up videos, follow-up articles on websites. Store owners make follow-ups on anything. You don't see the follow-up of when things go right. You know what I'm saying? So if you make 100 videos bashing 100 different Magic things or 100 different Pokemon things, okay? If 95 of those skyrocket in 10 years and 5 of them stay the same price, they're flat, you will not see the people who are filled with just negative shit hate. You will not see those people say, wow, did you guys see how good all these things are doing? They'll never do that because they don't want to do that. It doesn't fit their kind of attitude on the world. They don't see the world in the same beautiful colors that I see it in. They don't see all the amazing people and all the amazing UIs out there. Ladies and gentlemen, I guess this channel has 1% female viewership. Fuck. It's probably my left nut or I don't know. Nobody will. And it's one of those things where you just don't see it. And the people who just listen to this stuff driving to work, on their lunch break, they're sorting cards at night. Most people who watch this stuff, they don't say anything. They just say, cool. They don't comment. They don't subscribe. They don't do any of this stuff. I don't give a shit. I don't tell you to do anything. I don't care if you comment or subscribe. I don't give a shit about any of it. I'm just telling you all, this is the market. This is the board game. This is the Monopoly board that we all play in together. Okay? And this is why most players in the game just don't do a good job in life. Okay? And there's way more to life than business, than cards, than the stock market and money. There's a lot more to life than these things. But life provides you with more choice. when you have a successful business or you have more resources and utility like money. It won't make you happy, but having a successful business or having extra resources in the form of money will open up doors that, if you have a good head on your shoulders, will allow you to make better choices that can lead to a more fulfilling life. The money itself will not do that, but it can put you on different paths that can lead you or increase the probability of that kind of success. And that is really what the focus is. No one's on the internet saying Pokemon's better than the S&P. No one's doing that with Magic. No one does that. We do this stuff because we enjoy it, and we just think it makes life worth living, and it makes it a lot of fun. And there's nothing wrong with that. And I think it's going to continue that way. So I'll put some stupid negative title in this video. Thanks for watching. God knows how long this video is. I'm afraid to look at the timer when I turn it off. Again, if you guys like what I do here, thanks for watching the videos. Thank you to the thousands of patrons. Some of you all buy stuff from me, some of you don't. Just be aware. Again, I apologize in September if you're still watching this in September of 2024. My video rate is a lot lower because we're involved with the Flesh and Blood release. We're involved with PCG, has been slammed with orders and just under the most amount of business we've ever had in the last year with PCG. Thousands of cards being graded in 1 month. Unbelievable. So just, bear with me. The videos are a little lower right now. Like I said, we're getting ready to do the big old sorcery, Arthurian Legends, and we haven't done the reveal of the special card and all this stuff coming for you guys. I know you're excited. And yes, if you're patrons, I'll say it again, Duskmorn is coming up next. Yes, Duskmorn cases, if you want play boxes, are $116 a box. I only, the first pallet and everything. Then after that, next month, you can choose if you want one box or a case or any quantity you want after release. It'll take time for me to get the quantity. And yes, it's still the same price. No, it's not a scam. No, I'm not going to charge you an extra $20 in shipping. It is $116 a box for Duskmorn for all play boxes. The Bloomborough that you guys are buying the living shit out of from me are still $116 shipped. The draft boxes are still $91 shipped. It's all on the Patreon thing. You can see it on the posted page and everything. This is the last call in the last month for Jumpstart 2022. I know it's like $105 plus tax and TCG Player. So if you don't like me, you don't want to buy from me, just go on TCG Player. Jumpstart 2022 is on last call. You can get a box for $115 on TCG Player. I sell it for $91. I don't give a shit what you do with your money. I'm just telling you what's going on. You can buy it, you can not, you can just do whatever you want. Fuck, you can thumbs down and go get some food. That sounds good to me. Past that, like I said, we have some insane Pokemon stuff coming up. Insane Weiss releases. This is Duskmorn. It's not Crimson Val 2.0. There's a lot of positive things. The market has been incredibly successful. And last but not least, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Have a beautiful day out there. Make your own decisions. My job to provide you all the news, the market swings, the things that go up, down, and bamboozle you. And what a beautiful year. And I think next year is going to be even crazier. Next year is probably going to be Magic's best year in history. Same thing with Pokemon, Scarlet Violet going into all these Team Rocket new sets and crazy shit coming. Pokemon is going to be absolutely outrageous. And I think the smart money in Pokemon's already making moves, which is why we've seen a bull market start in Scarlet Violet. The bull market took a year and a half to come in Scarlet Violet, giggity. But it is now here, and I think moving into next year, when you got Weiss with new Bunko babes and crazy chicks that are real healthy, you've got the sorcery thing, you got these insane successful Flesh and Blood sets coming out lately that are insanely beautiful, with Pokemon doing these crazy releases that are nostalgic. You've got Magic just firing all cylinders. It's just, I think if you thought this year was good, 2025 is going to be an absolute just unreal for the card world. And maybe one day a vintage Magic the Gathering can come back out of that slump that we don't want to talk about. Thank you all for watching. Have a beautiful day. Oh my God, 50 minutes?